hosts, Ben Eastman and Geoff Grimshaw.
Hello, and you're listening to
Rock and Roll
Specialists.
I am Ben Eastman.
And I'm Geoff Crenshaw. And we come on the heels. We've been meaning to do this show again for a long time. We just haven't done it for some reason. But the day we do it, we come on the heels of a very fucking sad day yesterday.
That is very true. Our comeback episode somehow has much more meaning to both of us than we had further anticipated it would.
Yeah, a hero goes down. One of the best.
Yeah, yesterday Norm MacDonald passed away at the age of 61. Born in 1959, and apparently he had been privately battling cancer for almost a decade previous, and succumbed to it yesterday.
The Onion, I think, gave a very fitting tribute to Norm. I think one he would have appreciated. Norm MacDonald sent to hell for mocking God's friend O.J. Simpson. I saw it and I laughed, and I had to think that he'd appreciate it.
I have to say, what's been hilarious, and I can't help but think he's up there smirking at it. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time a big iconic comedian or actor passed away that had more people, especially within the industry, tributing him on Twitter or posting, their stories about him and how much they loved him. He really seemed kind of like the comedian's comedian.
Well, even when he was alive, people were telling stories about him as if he was dead.
Yeah,
like he was already a legend before he died, and this is just, I don't know, one more layer. Like, this is a story where he was kicked out of Iowa. He showed up at this like state fair, I think it was, and they asked him, they asked this group of comedians to perform this family event, and Norm goes on stage and he's like, "So when you're gay, how do you think they decide who's the ass guy?" And he was kicked out of the state by the governor.
Norm is a guy who I think literally in his delivery and his payoffs somehow feeds off uncertainty or awkward, cut the cheese in the room vibes. I think he somehow that's what he was eating for nutrients all these years. He seemed to be one of those comedians that really reveled in a roll your eyes type of way.
He loved making people uncomfortable, and he didn't seem to really mind when it had consequences for him. Yeah. He made some comment, I forget what it was, but it got his Netflix talk show canceled, and people were all, "Oh no, Norm, are you okay?" And he just tweeted, "I'm okay, don't worry about it." He's just rolls with the punches.
Shit, I didn't even know that was canceled.
Okay, I think he said I think he said the R word.
Oh, the one that rhymes with
petard.
I was gonna say me fard, but he definitely beat me to it.
Reminds me of that pilot of Veep, where she's under fire for saying retard, and I think it was the pilot, and there's she's in a press briefing so how do you feel about all this controversy about you having said that word? And she says, "Well, you could say I was hoist by my own retard."
Yes. Oh, and we saw Norm MacDonald perform at Helium Comedy in 2019.
Yes. I'm so glad. I'm more glad now that we went than I was before.
Yeah, I had always wanted to see him. Obviously, we share our love for Norm MacDonald, pretty much everything Norm. And anytime, I think some of my favorite Norm moments ever were, I don't think you could get a funnier talk show guest
No.
than Norm,
No.
because he had a way of literally making every like event or appearance just absolutely hilarious. Like I was remembering he was one of the last guests on Conan O'Brien's show when his stint as the Tonight Show host was coming to the end.
Oh,
at that
right.
debacle. So obviously, this was hilarious. So he brings in a basket, which is like a put together basket, and he sets it down in the middle of him and Andy as he sits down. And Conan O'Brien's like, "Oh my gosh, you brought me a basket." He's like, "Oh yeah, I made this basket for you, but it's really old, so probably don't want to open it." And he's like, "It's really old." He's like, "Well, I've been meaning to give it to you." And Conan's like, "Well, you've been on the show for like 6 times this past 8 months or whatever." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I actually made it like probably 2 months ago, and I just kept on forgetting to bring it to you every time I was coming." Hey, there's a card. I'm gonna read a card for you. And Conan's like all game for it, and he basically, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he like, "Wow, congratulations on finally becoming the Tonight Show host. Something you've always wanted, and they can never take that away from you." And basically, it was such a, but like, what a hilariously creative way to literally talk about what's going on without talking about what's going on. It was just like a funny and obviously Conan O'Brien thought it was hilarious. I thought his tribute to him was really sweet as well too. But,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
One of my favorite moments with Norm MacDonald on a talk show it was on Late Night with Conan O'Brien in the 90s. It was Courtney Thorne Smith went on the show to promote Chairman of the Board with Carrot Top, and oh my, you remember this?
Yeah.
She goes on the show and Norm was a previous guest, so he moved over, but he was still there. And Conan says, "Oh, so you're here to promote a movie that you made?" "Yeah, I made a movie with Carrot Top." He comes like, "Oh yeah, what's it called?" And Norm cuts in like, "You made a movie with Carrot Top? Well, I know what it's probably called. Box Office Poison."
Oh my god.
and then Conan's like, "Norm, you're so rude, blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Well," they talk about the movie for the second. Conan's like, "No, what's the movie really called?" And she's like, "It's called Chairman of the Board." And Conan's like, "Yeah, do something with that, you freak." And Norm's like, "Chairman of the Board? You mean BORED?"
Yes, I remember Conan egging him on. Yeah. Oh my god, man, the joke just wrote itself.
It did.
It really did. But
he was the quickest ever.
Oh, I know.
God, the other day, this is obviously before he died. Like, Bobby did not like him. My female companion. What? My female companion.
I think we need I think on this podcast we should have what do you call that in a book where it gives you the encyclopedia to know the references? What do they call it? A navigator, or what is it called?
An atlas?
No, I forget. Anyways, in some fantasy books, they give you a thing in the first few pages that explains what each thing is.
That glossary?
I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. But I feel like we need that for a podcast. Bobby, not a boy, just female companion.
Bobby, and that's her full name too. It's Bobby. It's not like Roberta or whatever. But she is an educator. Educated at Johns Hopkins. Well, anyway, she's a teacher, and I decided to introduce her to Norm. It's a couple weeks ago, I think. It wasn't that long ago, and I played a compilation of him. It's basically him saying that teachers aren't heroes. Yeah, you know the people that say the hardest job is being a teacher. Well, that's not true. People like to say teachers are heroes. Teachers aren't heroes. He's like, I saw the videos of like 9/11 with all the firefighters and police people going to save people's lives, and I thought to myself, you know who the real teachers, the heroes are? The teachers. And Bobby was getting more and more pissed.
And the funniest thing about that is that, but like that's like the whole joke of it though. But I guess that goes over people's heads sometimes.
That was her first ever exposure to Norm.
That's true, yeah.
So like she doesn't know him.
Yeah.
Like, she's hearing all these things, and also like there's this part where he's getting heckled by a teacher in the audience, and someone asks Norm, have you ever seen she asked Norm, have you ever seen a treadmill before? And he's like, do I know what a treadmill is? Yeah, of course I know what a fucking treadmill is. You think I'm a retard? And Bob's like, I know what the teacher was saying. And yeah, she was saying he's fat. He's like, no, he was saying he was walking the same path over and over, never getting anywhere. I'm like, no, I think she was saying he was fat. I'm a teacher, Geoff. Okay.
Norm, I hope you're smiling at this. I hope you're up there smiling.
Oh, if Norm was listening in, he'd be so bored.
Oh, man. I have to say, like, another great episode, and there's a whole bunch of them, but his talk show was definitely 300% him. Definitely not for everyone. I think Norm's comedy was just, it had a way of cutting through that I think the average Joe probably wouldn't get it. Yeah, it's definitely for me. Whatever it is, it's for me. That's for sure. But,
and Adam Egget, can I just say, is the best fucking second banana of all time.
Oh, second banana for sure.
He's so good, like the foil to Norm.
There's an episode of that show where Jane Fonda is on it. And increasingly,
this is the Netflix one.
Yeah, this is the Netflix one because he had it for a while that was just on YouTube, and then it was on Netflix for a bit too. But he had a Jane Fonda on, and they increasingly throughout the episode were flirting with each other to the point where they started to talk about it and make little jokes about it, and clearly Norm MacDonald. Was getting pretty smitten over Jane Fonda. It was it's actually pretty cute. Probably had a crush on her when he was a kid because she's that age now,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Adam Egget is a great second banana.
The way he was willing to throw away his own dignity to further Norm's comedy. One of my favorite things he'd do with Adam Egget. There's a compilation of this on YouTube, but he made Adam ask the question of his guests, "Tell me, where do you get your ideas from?" And he Norm would watch with this wild look in his eyes. The guests get pissed off at the question. What the fuck kind of question is that? And the way Adam would ask it was so earnest. Tell me, where do you get your ideas from?
Oh my god. So great. And I remember him for a while. He was sponsoring Man Great, and then they fired him as a sponsor
because he was fucking it up.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Man Great.
The worst part for the life of me is I can't remember exactly how because it's funny. He was obviously mispronouncing one of the key words to the existence of Man Great, and they apparently dropped him as a sponsor.
He was lonesome roadsing it, early in facing the crowd where he keeps saying "fuck you" to the mattress company, basically.
Oh yeah, wow, and crazy reference there. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Then Rhodes. I don't think Norm ever treated a sponsor legitimately. Rhodes ended up being the Vitajex guy in the movie, but
I was looking to see what it was. God, so funny.
Man Great.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It was the word iron. Because man grate, I think, is some kind of, like, iron, like, grilling thing you can put on top of a grill and make stuff or something like that.
Oh,
right.
right.
And it's made out of iron, but he kept on saying
Iron.
which is like,
You know you're doing that on purpose.
yeah, oh, you fucking
It's
know.
iron.
And I think even if I could recall too, one of his guests was like, you know, it's iron, right? He's like, what? Like,
Are you kidding me? Really?
yeah, it's iron.
Oh my god.
Uh,
One of my favorite, pretty much the best The View episode in history is when they had Norm MacDonald on as a guest in like the year 2000. It was during the election of Bush versus Gore, and Norm decided to go in and fuck with them. They're a bunch of kind of sourpuss ladies.
pretty much every season of The View.
Pretty much. I like Barbara Walters a lot and stuff, but a little uptight. And like Norm walks in and he's all grinning and stuff, and they're like talking about, they're like, I think they're complaining about Bush at one point, which I'm not a huge Bush fan anymore and stuff, but I'm a fan of like watching people get fucked with, Norm's like, I can't wait for Bush to be president. Hopefully the Democrats don't steal it from the winner. And he's saying that because he knows like their biases, and he's just like fucking with them and stuff. And they're all getting huffy and puffy. Like, what do you mean? And stuff like, well, I think it's going to be nice to get the homicide out of the White House. And like he starts like, you know, the Clinton killed a guy, right? And he's talking about Vince Foster and the View ladies, as you can fucking imagine, except maybe like one of them, because they always have the token conservative.
Yeah.
They're like, well, how dare you? And then there's a part where the producer was arranged this thing where he was going to do a bit with Norm. And like there was going to be a phone call, and it was like going to be like one of the agents for like one of the it was like the stupid joke and stuff, but he was going to act out this like joke like, it's my agent, he wants you to ask for more money to be on the show or something like that. And the phone rings, and he's like, what? And he picks up the cell phone, and he's like, is there a phone, are you getting a call, Norm? Like they're in on the joke too. And he's like, okay, here's the thing. And he just like tells them what the joke is. I talked to this guy backstage. And he completely, all of this shit going on in one interview. And like the View lady's like, well, you could kiss your career goodbye, Norm MacDonald. You're going to be nothing after this. And it was he just fucked with them completely. And it's the most legendary thing I've ever seen.
He was a troll.
Oh,
man. As we take it back to, I think he just fed on that kind of stuff. Like, he was a parasite comedian, just latched on and drained it as far as he could, man.
Dude, when we saw him, like, almost every single joke he told live is one I heard, like, from YouTube before.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't care. It was just being in the room with him. And no matter how many times I've heard of one of his jokes, it's always fucking funny.
Yeah.
And like it's fun. It's watching talking about Bill Cosby like 20 years ago compared to recent. Like he talks about how Cosby used to be his hero, and stuff. But then when he talked about like, you know, people often say that the worst thing about Bill Cosby was the hypocrisy, and I don't think that's true. I think the worst thing about Bill Cosby was the raping.
Yeah.
And then the scheming. and hypocrisy is probably number 12 on the list.
Oh, man.
I cannot believe... I can't believe he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like... He Chadwick Boseman'd us, because Chadwick, like... I don't know how long Chadwick had cancer. I don't think it was as long as Norm. Yeah. But like nobody knew about it until he died.
Well, you do it on your own terms. I understand it. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
well, and
You went on to be like a famous person, like going through cancer.
David Bowie, same way. Tom Petty, same way. Prince, same way.
I thought Bowie was like a widowmaker, like a heart attack, wasn't it?
No, he
Cancer?
had yeah, he was terminal, and he knew that he had like a year left or maybe a year or two left, so he started making music.
You cannot talk about Tom Petty because the shooting in Las Vegas happened on the same day.
Oh God!
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
Yeah, one tragedy doesn't beget another tragedy,
Yeah.
but still, well, and I meant necessarily like Prince and Tom Petty. They were both dealing with ailments that they weren't public about.
Yeah.
That they used other ways to deal with and passed on. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's sad anytime one of your heroes dies, but especially when seemingly out of nowhere with no sign of it is especially tragic. It is that way in real life too, and it's just it's sad that we won't be able to have. Norm it was so complex in a lot of different ways because someone as seemingly cold and seemingly aloof could also give you like comedic storytelling and a vibe of warmth and like heart.
Yeah, that twinkling, like always had that twinkling in his eye.
Yeah, and there was just something about him that was definitely genuine.
Oh yeah.
And while controversial, just always smart and quick as a whip. It's going to be sad to live in a time where he doesn't exist.
Oh, he exists. He's just exists on the record.
Yeah.
We'll always have a lot of Norm around. He'll always be funny.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube. There's a channel, I'm Not Norm, that has 1 million different Norm MacDonald compilations. Saturday Night Live. I watched a lot of the Weekend Update compilations like after he died. The O.J. Simpson ones, obviously, like the first one after the acquittal. Well, it's now official. Murder is legal in the state of California. And there was one from 1996. It's kind of a crowd. He loved like shitting on the Clintons too. O.J. Simpson has pledged his support to Bill Clinton, and he says he'll do anything he can to help the president. And Bill Clinton said, well, there's one thing, and they flashed a picture of Hillary.
And you guessed it, Frank Stallone. Which I loved.
Germans love David Hasselhoff. Sorry, go on.
And just as much of an asshole Frank Stallone is, it was funny that he seemingly had a good
reaction to it.
A good reaction because a guy came out with. I hate to bring up Frank Stallone. Maybe he lives rent free in my head because he blocked me because I called him out one time for acting stupid, which isn't hard to do because he acts stupid pretty much 24/7. But
he wrote Far From Over. I will not have you denigrate him.
I love that song.
This is the
And as much as I hate him, I love him. I don't understand it, but he had a well, shit. Now my mind just slipped. Frank Stallone had a movie called Stallone. Frank, that is. And I watched it. It was a documentary.
Oh, God.
And it was bad. It was bad. Clearly, some guy came to him and was like, look, I'll make this movie about your life. And, like, went on YouTube and found every single clip of him possible. But during a good portion of the documentary was basically everyone explaining how Frank Stallone is good in his own right. He doesn't need to be compared to Sly Stallone. He's not just Sly Stallone's brother. Yet Sly Stallone had you put music in all of his big movies. And, like, you're here, literally, the title of this movie is Stallone. Frank, that is. Like, I was just thinking, like...
Frank, that is. It makes me wonder, Yeah, you and I both love like Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
I wonder like how Jim Belushi would be like in public if John were alive still.
Yeah.
Like I think the dynamic would be different, but
Yeah.
I wonder if like he'd be like famous in his own right, or if he'd kind of be a Frank type, or
Both brothers talented, surprisingly. Although I think Jim Belushi earned his keep a bit more than Frank Stallone did.
yeah, oh yeah,
Great actor.
Jim. I love Jim. Jim Belushi's a good what's the word? I love him as a supporting actor.
Oh yeah.
Like that one we love with John Candy. Only the Lonely, like the buddy.
He's great in that.
He's fun to watch and Jingle All the Way. His scene.
Yeah, he's great in that. Raw Deal. Was it Raw Deal or no? Not Raw Deal. It's Red. What's the one with him and Schwarzenegger?
Red Dawn. No. Red.
It's Red something. But that's a great one with him as a second fiddle too. I mean,
What's the one that you had him sign? That's not the second fiddle one. I think he stars in it. But he took a video of you holding the case.
Two actually. Taking Care of Business is one, and Mr. Magic, I think, or
Oh
man, now I can't remember the title of that. It's Mr. Something.
It's been a few years now.
But it's a great movie. It's kind of like his take on almost like a Christmas Carol, and that he gets to like go back with Michael Caine plays like this butler who takes him to show him what his life could be like. Essentially, it's one of those.
Oh, okay.
Not Mr. Majestic, or it might be Mr. Majestic actually.
Mr. Majestic.
But yeah, so
Nice. That'd be interesting to watch. I remember he was tickled that you had a copy of that. Wasn't it a Blu-ray copy too?
huh? Yeah.
Nice.
I actually had. There was another time I had met him that I had brought a Blu-ray copy of Thief and had him sign that.
Oh, you met him at a different time too?
I did, yeah.
When?
Yeah, it was actually like randomly. I was in the area and saw people lined up at a place, and I was like, "Oh, why are they there?" So I looked it up, and he was there. So it was cool. I like ran home real quick and grabbed my my Blu-ray copy Criterion of Thief.
Was that before or after we met him?
After. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit, you didn't tell me about that.
I thought I did.
No.
Oh, well, it was so random. It was just like, it was cool, but it was a copy of Thief, which he played in. It was his very first movie he was ever in. And he actually, like, talked to me for a bit about that, which was kind of cool, yeah. He's like, "Oh, I love Michael Mann. That was my first movie." And I was just talking about how much I love that, because that's one of my all-time favorite movies. And he's cool. He's a bit part in it, but he plays one of the bank robber guys.
That was before Trading Places?
Yeah, this was his first movie.
Wow.
Thief was his first movie.
When did it come out?
79.
So John was still alive at the time.
Oh, huh. Maybe it's 81. It might be 81. But
Still,
when did John die?
I think that was 82 is when he died.
Oh, wow.
So maybe John died when like Jim was already trying. I always kind of had the idea that John died and like probably act rather. Oh, that's Jim. Come on,
Come on, rise to the occasion.
we need a Belushi.
Crystal hot vodka.
I won't lie. I love Dan Aykroyd. I would kill to meet him.
I do love Dan Aykroyd. I don't know if in small doses. Personally, I imagine if I was into dinner with him, I probably wouldn't leave for 48 hours because he'd be talking.
I would. I could live with that.
I do love him. I say that with love for him, but he's a talker.
Oh, he is. Like he'll. Oh God. Get him started on UFOs.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the aliens visit us because they saw what happened at 9/11. He said that.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. That sounds like something he would say.
He's such a good actor, though. And he's like one of the funniest fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, he's like with Norm in my top 5 SNL of all time. It's like Aykroyd, Norm, Phil Hartman. Shit, I don't know who. Like, it's like the top 3.
Man, that's hard.
Maybe Farley.
That's hard to put that together. I would have to actually think on that. There's so many.
I don't know if it's possible. For a show that's pretty much
Kristen
sucked
Wiig,
for the
Kristen Wiig, Kristen Wiig.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. That's my top 5.
Oh god, I saw a tribute yesterday. It's like, me, Mom, can we go to see Norm MacDonald? Mom, we have Norm MacDonald at home. And that Norm MacDonald at home, and it's a picture of that one of the current Weekend Update guy, or one of the two. It's like, it's not as obviously not funny. It's a jab at the other guy.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Oh man,
Norm MacDonald, like Norm and Chevy Chase, and God, who else? Who else has done it?
Dennis Miller, Jimmy Fallon did it. I'm not saying they're all good. I'm just thinking of people that have done it.
Fallon.
The brother Seth Meyers did it.
Seth Meyers.
Who did it in kind of the late 90s? Was that Dennis Miller that did it then?
Miller was like the 80s.
He was 80s. I'm thinking like when I grew up and was watching SNL back when.
Honestly, probably Fallon.
Like it might have been Fallon at that time. Then now that I think about it, because I'm trying to think when I was growing up, it was Tina Fey, Fallon, Will Ferrell, like that was the era, or the era that I kind of remembered. Tim Meadows in there and stuff too, but yeah, I was trying to think. There might have been some other guys, but definitely McDonald was by far the best.
Yes.
And Chevy Chase was pretty funny. He played it pretty straight. He only did it he was only on SNL for one season anyway.
I think just the first.
Yeah.
Then he left.
And absolutely skyrocketed. He's looking really good. He's actually looking really good. I just saw a video of him recently.
He's old now.
He's old as hell.
He's pushing 80 now.
And I saw his tribute to Norm as well too. In fact, he's.
I spent all day like yesterday. Even I was at work, but I spent all day whenever I could looking up like random people, seeing if they posted. I really wanted to see if Adam Egget posted something, and I finally found it on Instagram.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
It was. It's like man. I wonder how many people that knew him knew that he had cancer.
Yeah.
Or like I imagine like Adam Egget would have had to know because I imagine that he saw him often enough to be able to tell.
Yeah.
But honestly, it makes sense because like in the last 10 years, his weight like ballooned up, like beyond what we were used to seeing. And then when we saw him, he was like thin again, and I just figured it was like weight fluctuation. But I can see how like cancer could explain both things.
Yeah.
And
he definitely was looking quite a bit older.
Oh yeah.
Recently.
I just figured that was just time,
Yeah. Well, it could do it to us all. World's stressful enough. It can definitely.
Time shows pity to nobody. But you know what? Norm fucking made time go easy. Has easier many times for me. Takes the stress off of you just to have a funny person like that. Nobody compares to him. Should we wrap up?
Oh yeah.
We love you, Norman.
Norm, you're the fucking man. You always will be.
Thank you for all the laughs from the past and the ones that for years to come, because I'm gonna be doing this shit constantly, just like I did when you were alive, constantly.
24/7 nonstop. We'll be here for you, Norm, as long as you're there for us.
Yes.
Thank you for the memories.
Come back, Norm.
Come back to us.
I'm Geoff Crenshaw.
And this has been Eastman.
Rock and roll.